Ever feel like you're drowning in a sea of marketing tools trying to keep your business running smoothly? What if you could simplify it all with one platform? That's where Go High Level comes in, your all-in-one sales and marketing solution built for small businesses like you. In fact, Go High Level has over 1 million users just like you. With Go High Level, you can capture leads, automate your prospect and client journeys, quickly and efficiently build stunning websites, sales pages, and sales funnels. Imagine managing your CRM, email, SMS, and funnels without duct taping a dozen tools together. Plus, their unlimited plan lets you add as many contacts and users as you need, no hidden fees. We've been using Go High Level for over a year now and absolutely love it. In fact, Profit First Nation is also powered by Go High Level. Ready to level up? Start your Profit First Nation extended 30-day free trial today at www.gohighlevel.com/Profit First Nation. That's www.gohighlevel.com/Profit First Nation. Streamline your workflow, impress your clients, and grow smarter, not harder.
Welcome to Profit First Nation, the official podcast for entrepreneurs who are operating their businesses in the zone of permanent profitability. I'm Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First, and now here's your Profit First Nation guide, Daniel Mulvey.
Today we have return guests. Margy and Jessica are the co-owners of Interview Connections, the first and leading podcast booking agency. Jessica founded the company in 2013 and Margy came on as co-owner in 2018. They lead an in-house staff of 15 full-time employees in their now virtual Rhode Island office and have successfully scaled the agency to multiple seven figures. They originally appeared on episode 51, sharing their profit first journey at the beginning stages back in 2021. Welcome back to the podcast, Margy and Jessica.
Thanks for having us. Thank you so much.
So 4 years, a lot has happened. Kids have grown, babies have been born, and you guys have gone virtual. But one thing has stayed true, and that you have stuck with Profit First.
Yes, absolutely. I love it so much. And it's nice to talk about it because I think certain things in business, when they work really well, that you go on autopilot and you kind of forget about them. And then when new business owners are like, what should I do? Or like, what's the first thing I should do? I'm like, oh, profit first, definitely profit first. Yes.
And you're still working with your Profit First professional team. And you talked in the original episode. So that was episode 51. If you guys want to listen to that first and then come back and listen to this fresh new episode 4 years later, you still have the same team. And you talked a lot about how instrumental they were. And you guys are fans of using a Profit First professional when you're implementing and doing Profit First and having someone support you in your accounting and bookkeeping. Can you kind of talk about that relationship?
Yes. I think having a profit first professional is so important. And there's so many good ones now that I feel like there's truly no reason not to. It eliminates so much friction to not have to explain what you're trying to do and why. And when it's time for profit distributions or when you're adjusting your percents, or if you want their input on adjusting percents, they can support you and help you and answer questions, which is really helpful because the book is really helpful. But then once you're actually implementing, everyone's company is slightly different. And so there is customization needed that you'll need support on in the beginning. And also having a bank that's profit first friendly. I think those two things make setting up Profit First so smooth and easy. Whereas I see a lot of entrepreneurs read the book and be like, that's a great idea, and never implement it. And I think there's a lot of friction from not having a Profit First professional working with them in their business, not knowing how to find a Profit First friendly bank. And then you just run into roadblock after roadblock, because I found that people who don't do Profit First will tell you that the things you want to do aren't possible or aren't easy. And it creates this unnecessary roadblock. And then you talk to someone who does profit first, and they're like, yeah, of course, we just set that up.
And so the first step in implementing Profit First is opening up your bank accounts. And so when you guys opened up your bank accounts, did you, for Profit First purposes, were you already at a quote Profit First friendly bank, or did you have to like find another bank?
We were already at a profit first friendly bank. We got very lucky. Bank RI, shout out. I absolutely love them. We're in Rhode Island. Jess had been a personal client of Bank RI and then set up the business accounts with Bank RI before my time. And then I came on board and then read Profit First. And then we decided to implement Profit First, I think 2019, 2020. We hadn't been doing it too long when we came on your show in 2021.
Right.
And we truly just, the stars aligned for us. Like we got so lucky that they're just a wonderful bank. And even though I don't know that they advertised being profit first, they were very flexible with us when we were like, okay, this is what we want to do. We need all these accounts. We need to be able to transfer really easily. We need there to be no fees if certain accounts are going down to zero. And they were like, okay, no problem. And so that is not typical in the business I acquired in 2023 in Texas. I had a much harder time.
Oh, interesting.
But our Bank RI, if you are in Rhode Island, is awesome.
So what did you do so you acquired a business in Texas and it came with bank accounts.
It did. It came with bank accounts that were at a bank that was incredibly not profit first. And so my business partner who lives in Texas, I was like, I'm so sorry. This is going to be such a pain, but we're going to have to change banks. And she was like, okay. And a lot of that had to be done in person. And I live in Rhode Island. So she got stuck with a lot of really not fun waiting at bank branch, which she was great. But so we were at a bank that was terrible. Well, I won't insult them, but it was a big bank. It was
I was going to say, so it's traditionally like the national banks, the ones that are in, multiple states and this, that, the other, they tend to be a little bit more traditional. They tend to be, not business oriented necessarily, a little bit more consumer, a little bit more other things versus exactly. I'm sure Bank RI is more of a business bank. And so
yes, Bank RI is so much more excited about their small business clients and helping them. Whereas, yes, this is a major giant bank and I don't find them very
They just
helpful.
Don't get it. There's too many
They don't
people.
get it. They didn't want to help. They weren't open to it at all. So we changed banks. I Googled profit first friendly banks in Texas, found Truist.
Okay. Oh, great. Okay. They're a pretty big gang, but I have a dear friend who is the VP of HR there. So
cool.
I'm a Truist fan.
Cool.
So yeah, they've got a lovely culture. They're a big bank, but with kind of small town roots. So yay.
Yes. So that was helpful. They weren't as good as Bank RI at first. There was a little bit of friction in like, this is what we want to do. And they were kind of like, why? And we're like, but then it eventually worked out and it's been very smooth since it got set up. So I would definitely recommend them.
Okay. Excellent. So, when we talk profit first, and your business, I don't want to say it's been on autopilot. Once you got it implemented, once you got your percentages dialed in, and you were pretty close to the target allocation percentages when you started, because cash in wasn't a problem. It was a bit of the cash management, and so where the money was going and what was happening with the money, because plenty was coming in. How have you used what Profit First tells you in a cash management basis to adjust your business? And I'm sure you're more profitable now, right? In terms of the profit account?
We have focused a lot more on profit. I will say since 2021, we have experienced ups and downs in cash flow. And so we got to experience profit first when there's so much money coming in. And even when you have so much money coming in, if you're not doing profit first, it has a way of disappearing or you don't have enough to pay your taxes. And you're like, how is this happening? The revenue is so high. And so it really helped us both in times where there was so much cash coming in and when we had tighter months. It's like magic because it allowed us to always have enough to pay our payroll, to pay our OpEx, to pay ourselves, to pay our taxes, even in times where things were tougher or we had more money going out. And so I think it's such a testament to profit first in both periods. I will also say last year, we focused more on cash and profit than on top line revenue goals. Whereas in the past, we had been really focused on big top line revenue goals and less focused on actual cash. And so last year, we were more focused on the actual profit, which I think overall went well. And so that was different for us because that top line revenue number is so exciting and like going big, but it's the cash ultimately that keeps things moving.
Yeah, and we know that it isn't top line revenue that drives profitability. There's only two
Right.
ways to drive profitability or increase profitability, and that's to increase margin and or decrease expenses. Jessica, can you talk to like how over the last 4 years Profit First has helped you dial in margin, and what have you guys done in your business, maybe in terms of offerings, in terms of packages, etc.?
Yeah. Yeah. And so for the listeners that don't know as well, like we're 50-50 business partners and Margy is the CEO and really handles the profit first stuff. So, and then I'm in sales and marketing and we definitely, work together a lot. And like Margy really kind of took the lead on like figuring out the expenses and looking at, pay like the highest expense was payroll and even like zooming in even more to like what aspect of payroll, so we looked a lot at like our sales team and our commission policy and our sales and marketing strategies and what was impacting the increase and or decrease in sales. So that's like the past few years has been like really looking at that because when cash was really flowing in, like we had our biggest year ever in 2021, you don't always notice where you might be bloated because there's so much money. You're like, this is still great. But then when there are tight years and when sales go down, that's where I think Damon John wrote a book like The Power of Broke or something. And there is a lot of value when you do have tough times because it really forces you to cut every ounce of fat that you can and you start to really realize where there are unnecessary expenses. So that's been a lot of the last 4 years. And I will say that Profit First is great because like Margy was on maternity leave and everything was set up so that like I could easily jump in and not being like the head finance person in the business could easily keep things going with a very clean system and way of organizing the cash.
And I have to say too, especially for partners, Profit First, or if you have investors in a company, Profit First just really makes where's the money going and how is the cash being managed in the business like crystal clear versus, like the money is in the profit account. Okay, we know how much there is now to distribute to profit. Versus when you don't have a system in place and you just have one business bank account and you've got, your income statement on an accrual basis saying one thing when it comes to profitability, and then you look at your bank account and you're like, I'm not sure about that. It does make it really crystal clear, and I think it's just helps partnerships continue to be equitable and transparent and
yeah. Because the numbers don't lie. Like what is in the bank accounts, it's just more data driven. It's more factual. Like this is how much we have in each bank account versus like when it's all in one big pot. It's sort of, I can't imagine not using Profit First, to be honest with you. Like I don't know how people run a business where like I have a coaching client right now and I'm like, you got to set up Profit First because I'm like, where's your money going? It's like, well, like I have some money going here and I have this. And I'm like, there is not enough clarity right now. Like you have got to separate this money out into different accounts.
yeah, for sure. Um, You guys talked in the episode 4 years ago about an employee return on payroll metric, and your target was 4x. And obviously, there's going to be some positions like sales that is going to be producing, ideally like 7, 8x and such. And then you're going to have back office roles and this, that, the other that might not have a direct impact on revenue. But overall, when you take your payroll number and you minus out your guys' owner's pay, and then divide and then multiply by 4, and then that kind of tells you where you are hitting. How is that going for you guys? You guys are like the two type A overachievers, so I bet it. Are you still tracking that number and metric?
So I will say we have gone in a very different direction with team stuff. I went down similar to Profit First. I then became obsessed with agility and Scrum. And so we have a fully agile, self-led, self-managing team on service delivery in the agency. And so we are less focused on having them context switch and do revenue producing activities, and more focused on how they work as a team to support clients. Now, looking at referrals and renewals and stuff like that is something that we're always doing, because obviously that's a big thing for them, and looking at what's within their control with the service. Where do we need to add more coaching and support for clients so that they're actually making the most of their podcast interviews, so they have the business system set up to actually ROI these interviews. And so that's been sort of an ongoing thing. But I think the direct, like everybody's 4Xing, that focus for me has definitely shifted, because we've spent years now creating this agile team that works very well, that is self-led, and the way that they can kind of like move in and do different roles is really cool. And it has allowed us to have a smaller service delivery team than we previously had, because they're able to do more, even though they work a 4-day work week. And part of that was eliminating context switching and stuff like that. And so we don't have them necessarily doing sales activities the way that we did in the past, which I know works for a lot of people, but for us, this seems to be working well.
Awesome. Well, yeah, for sure. And again, it's not that it's the collective needs to be producing. So, you can do the math, and you're not every single person is going to be 4x. I like to say 3.5x. Like, I think 3.5x, and I know it's only half, but I think that 3.5x is doable and such. But overall, I bet you guys are there, especially if you've reduced your payroll too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. And our sales team, like I just calculated this number. We have a salesperson who's been here just over 6 months, and he's 10x, so and there's still so much more room to grow. So I like that without the context switching, because we used to have our service team like do a referral block where they always had time where they're asking for referrals. And so having all of the sales, like revenue generating activities, really be focused on the sales team, like they can be like, I can see them being 10 to 15x of what we're paying them, while the service team can really focus on like service and client experience. So,
and it sounds like you have 5-star employees, because they're self-managed, they're self-led. So that has probably freed up a lot for you guys as well, in terms of like where you're spending your time and how you're spending your time. How and then it also too, you guys are now virtual, so you don't have that office expense anymore, right? So that was probably...
That was really nice. When we got rid of the office. Yeah. That was definitely a good thing that came out of COVID, is it had us go remote. And our team, we, are members of like a co-working space. So the booking team has once per month, they're getting together in person for a co-working day. Margy and I are working, like we were kind of in separate lanes in the business for a while Margy was building out like the Scrum and developing the leadership team on the booking team side. And while I was deep in sales producing, like I was doing all the sales calls last year, and now we have a sales team they're doing really, really well. And so now that we've gotten to this place where, I mean, it's ever evolving, but we have like the sales side and the booking team side are doing great. So she and I are coming back together more. Like we're getting together in person today after this podcast to like work on some new offers. And so that's really, really exciting.
Awesome. And 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 margin has increased, I would assume. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we from 2023 to 2024, we quadrupled the profit
Oh,
um
wow.
of the business. We had some tight years, so but it yeah, through like reducing expenses made a huge, huge difference. So, yeah.
Um, and any final words of advice to business owners who have read the book, listened to the podcast, and listened to the audio version of Profit First, but haven't made that leap yet?
I mean, I think Who Not How is a classic. Find a profit first professional accountant, find a profit first friendly bank, which you can find by Googling to make it as easy as possible. It's one of those things that's really easy not to implement. And I think you can't see the impact that it's going to have until you do it. I would also say my other company that I just acquired in 2023 is a neurosomatic company. And so it's a lot about the nervous system. And there are huge benefits to having Profit First set up for your nervous system because the amount of mental energy it takes to make decisions about your money when it's in one big pot of like, can I afford this? Do I have enough to pay my taxes? Should I invest in this operating expense? It takes all of that away and it frees up that energy and it decreases burnout and it frees up that energy for income producing activities. So I truly believe that it benefits your brain and nervous system and your business. I think it just everything.
And it doesn't take much, I mean, in the first episode, you talked about like, oh, if it takes a day to do it, just take that day. And you talked about your business partner in Texas, kind of taking that time and such. But again, like, okay, so it takes an afternoon out of your day, but like you're saying, your nervous system response. I mean, you guys didn't sweat it when April 15th came, right? Like you don't sweat it at the end of each quarter when it's time to pay your quarterly estimated taxes because there's cash in the bank in that tax hold account where you are set. So I love that that you brought that into it, that how much the stress taxes you. And when you have that stress, you're not thinking clearly. You're not doing your best work when something else is just driving you crazy and making you feel helpless. So, excellent point there. Uh, and I want to talk really quickly about interview connections and how people can get in touch with you. So, I've appeared on, I mean, so many podcasts. And the interesting thing is that I do have like, usually the hosts are always so kind and generous and, oh, how can people reach out to you? This, that, the other and such. But the funny thing is the rapport that you build actually with the host, they turn into clients and such. And so it's just so funny and so interesting. And so we have clients, we call them members, who I was a guest on their podcast. So
Yeah.
they just like heard me ask me questions for 30 minutes and then said, I think we need this. So podcasting is just such a great channel, a great medium. I would say be on podcasts before thinking you need to write a book because no one's reading anymore. Like, please read Profit First. Please read All In. But
Yeah.
like we can consume so much on the go and such in podcasts. So if you're on the fence of like, do I write a book or do I invest in like writing a book or do I invest in appearing on podcasts? You guys, I podcasts is I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
the words. Like I mean, I'm like, it's a commercial for you guys, but
Yeah.
it just like I promise you, just people are not reading tragically, but people can consume a podcast and do it anywhere and everywhere.
Yes, yes. I mean, if you're a business owner that feels that when people hear you speak and they are educated by you and they hear your story, that they'll want to work with you, then this is this is the strategy that should be at the center of your marketing plan. And so if you want to, set up a call and learn more, you can go to interviewconnections.com and we can set up a time.
Great. Thank you guys so much. If you would like to work with a certified Profit First professional, like Margy and Jessica do at Insight Tax, or another Profit First professional that is a special into your niche, then please go to profitfirstnation.com, where you can connect with a certified Profit First professional. Cheers to another profitable day, my entrepreneurial friends.
Hey, this is Ro, and if you're a business owner struggling with hiring or just tired of doing it yourself, I highly recommend the Build Your Dream Team Secret Podcast series. There are 7 episodes packed with real stories from founders who've cracked the code on hiring, built high-performing teams, and finally got out of the day-to-day grind. My favorite part? It's not fluff. It's systems, strategy, and results. Text DREAM to 55444. That's DREAM to 55444 to check it out. You'll thank me later.